All right, gather round the campfire for a story about a war so brief you might miss it if you blinked. Tonight, we delve into the tale of the shortest war in history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, which lasted a mere 38 to 45 minutes on August 27, 1896. Our story begins in the late 19th century when Zanzibar was a prosperous island off the coast of East Africa, known for its spices and strategic location. It was under the rule of the Sultanate of Zanzibar, a realm that had intricate relationships with both local powers and European colonial interests. The trouble started when Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini, a ruler friendly to the British Empire, passed away suddenly on August 25, 1896. His death sparked a power struggle. Almost immediately, his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash, seized the throne. Unlike his predecessor, Khalid was less accommodating to British interests, and this didn't sit well with the British authorities, who had significant influence in the region. The British, determined to maintain their influence, issued an ultimatum to Khalid: abdicate the throne and leave the palace by 9 a.m. on August 27, 1896. Khalid, defiant and determined to hold his ground, fortified the palace and assembled a small force of about 2,800 men, which included palace guards and civilian supporters. He also had a few artillery pieces and a royal yacht, the HHS Glasgow, equipped for combat. The British, on their part, prepared for a swift military response. Rear Admiral Harry Rawson was in command of the British naval forces, which included 3 cruisers: HMS St. George, HMS Philomel, and HMS Raccoon, along with 2 gunboats, HMS Thrush and HMS Sparrow. They positioned themselves in the harbour, their guns trained on the Sultan's palace. As the 9 a.m. deadline approached, there was no sign of surrender from Khalid. At precisely 9:02 a.m., the British opened fire. The bombardment was devastatingly effective. Within minutes, the palace was reduced to ruins, the artillery pieces were destroyed, and the HHS Glasgow was sunk. The Sultan's forces, overwhelmed by the sheer firepower of the British, quickly crumbled. Casualties on the Zanzibari side were significant, with around 500 men killed or wounded. In contrast, the British forces suffered only 1 injury, a petty officer who was wounded. By 9:40 a.m., the bombardment ceased. Khalid had fled the palace and sought refuge in the German consulate. The British swiftly declared the war over and installed a new sultan, Hamoud bin Mohammed, who was more amenable to British interests. The entire conflict had lasted between 38 to 45 minutes, making it the shortest war in recorded history. Despite its brevity, the Anglo-Zanzibar War had significant consequences. It solidified British control over Zanzibar and demonstrated the overwhelming military superiority of European powers during the era of imperialism. The aftermath saw the British reinforcing their influence in the region, and Sultan Hamoud bin Mohammed became a puppet ruler under British supervision. Khalid bin Bargash eventually escaped to German East Africa, where he lived in exile.